This is a football podcast, man. Meat, football, good. Man, we talk football. We eat burgers.
Welcome back, one and all, to Scramble Drill. It's Josh Johnson, Ben Watts, talking to you about some Dynasty fantasy football. And we come to you on this sad, rainy evening because, the teams didn't quite get it done the way we wanted them to. And so, yes, we're going to be talking about some Dynasty offseason strategy and things like that, but I figured it would just be best to kick things off with a annual therapy session about how it didn't happen. It didn't happen the way we wanted them to. You get all the way to the finale, and then the team doesn't pull through. Of course, I'm speaking about Ben in the Grandaddy them all, made it to the promised land only for God to strike his team down and send them back to Egypt. How are the emotions, the feelings, and all the things? Because we might have started to record a podcast a bit too soon after it happened.
I'm a broken man. I shouldn't care. I shouldn't care this much about a fantasy football team. But that doesn't stop the fact that I do. And you know this as well as anyone else, but I'm hurting right now. I'm hurting. I think it's safe to say, it's not bragging, but my team has probably been the best team in Mully. Is that safe to say that I have had the best team in Mully overall since the league has started? It's been the most consistently great team, you would say.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at regular season points for record, all that fun stuff, this
regular
team is...
season, playoff appearances, I know I've got to lead the league in playoff appearances.
I mean,
got
it's
to.
pretty much
I've made
year.
it 6 consecutive seasons. I've been to the championship 4 of those 6 seasons, and I'm 0-4. And it happened again. I've lost to Landon Davis 3 times in the championship, which is devastating. A couple of them have been absolute heartbreakers. One was on the very final play of the season. One was because it was tight overall, but Justin Jefferson decided to have 2 points in the championship one year. And I'm not going to lie, I think this one hurts more than any I've ever gone through. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is one of the better teams I've fielded in a while. And we lose by 5 points. We lose by 5 points, and there's a laundry list of reasons as to why this team lost. Congratulations, Hayden. By the way, I can't sit here and moan and groan without at least giving Hayden his props. He has won 2 in a row now. The first one beating you by an even smaller score.
Yeah.
That one's tough. So, but fortunately, you actually decided to reward Hayden for beating you by 0.2 points by giving him the keys to the victory this year. So I'm really thankful for that, Josh. First of all, I went all in at the deadline. Traded 3 first-round picks, Calvin Ridley, plus I think some other stuff like Zach Charbonnet, and got a decent return back. I brought in Breece Hall. I really thought he might have a good second half of the season in playoff time. I brought in Devontae Adams, who was killing it at the time. Brought in Terry McLaurin, also killing it at the time. Brought in David Montgomery, who was killing it at the time. And for the most part, they did fine. Breece Hall was absolutely trash the whole time. So we'll throw him out the window there. Devontae and Terry were great. David Montgomery, God rest his soul. Soldier, you're a king. This isn't your fault. I love you. I will miss you. Come back stronger next season. But Devontae Adams and Terry McLaurin, don't ever let me see them in person, all right? Don't ever let me see them in person. Week 17, the championship week. I've got a lead. It's a 2-week championship going in. Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, and Breece Hall combined for 14 points. Terry himself has 1. It's half PPR. Do we want to explain this, Josh?
Oh, I got nothing for you. I have.
Also explain to the group how you also gave Hayden the win.
Well,
go ahead, tell him what you did.
I traded him Jonnu Smith. That's all I gave him. Just Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, and he did not have a substitute on the roster if you hadn't given him Jonnu Smith, that would have beaten me. But Jonnu Smith did. So congratulations on, after Hayden stole your soul, deciding to reward him with a second championship, Josh.
The true unfortunate bit was, we thought at the time, I mean, David Montgomery, I sent you David Montgomery and Terry. And at the time, Terry McLaurin was like wide receiver 4. Dave Montgomery's Dave Montgomery. It's like, okay, well, frankly, I thought it was sewn up then and there, because at the trade deadline, Hayden's team
every time we thought
like
I had Mully
sewn
up, every time. You've texted me multiple times throughout the years, dude, I think you've got this. I've lost every time.
It's funny. I went back and looked, and well, you can't go back like a year and look, but every time this year in the playoffs that I got that same text from you, I mean, I ended up losing. So it's a curse is what it is. I'm just going to refrain from being encouraging.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that to you. If you will do the same respect to me, do not ever say, I think you've got this. Ever.
I'm not going to
ever text me that again.
You will never see, I think you got, I don't want rationalization. In fact, I honestly, I just want you to be pessimistic. Just tell me, no, I think you're going to lose. Because then my expectations will be properly set, and I won't be all that mad when it happens.
I mean, I'm the only person who saw this coming. Hayden thought he was going to lose. You thought I was going to win. Landon thought I was going to win. I'm the only one who knew something horrible is going to happen. And lo and behold, here we are. It happened. Jonnu Smith scored a touchdown in garbage time. Terry McLaurin in prime time against a not great Falcons team. Let me also, while we're on the subject of the Falcons, this is my official resignation. You had jokingly said earlier in the year, Ben, do you want to go ahead and turn in your Falcons fandom card right now and become a Bengals fan? I was like, no, I was kind of kidding. No. This is my official resignation. I don't have a new team picked out yet. I've got some players. I've got some players I'm fiercely loyal to, i.e. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, those types of players. Fiercely loyal. Love them to death. But I haven't picked out a new team yet. But here is my official hand-in resignation. I'm done with the Falcons. Because in a got-to-have-it Week 17 game, the Falcons are on the verge of making the playoffs. You got your rookie quarterback in there. He's actually playing pretty well. You still manage to choke the game away. You lose to the Redskins, blowing your... Or you still got a chance at the playoffs, but you have to count on the Bucs losing, which is not a good feeling, especially considering how unbelievable Baker Mayfield is playing right now. So you got that. But in the process of even still losing the game, Jaden Daniels has a really good game against the Falcons defense. They decide to choke the game away, but lock Terry McLaurin down to blow their playoff chances and also ruin my fantasy championship in the league that I care about more than any other league on this planet. This is my resignation. I'm done. I'm done.
They served you up a Zach Ertz special and an L. Said, here you go, Ben. Here's your reward.
I watched the clock management from Raheem Morris. It was worse than Matt Eberflus. That's how bad it was, because you did it twice in a game. You didn't do it once. You did it at the beginning of at the end of the first half. You did it at the end of the second half. Raheem Morris is not head coach material. I'm done with the Falcons. Screw you, Terry McLaurin. Screw you, Aaron Rodgers, for bringing down Devontae Adams and Breece Hall. I'm done. Can you tell that I'm actually upset right now? I'm not joking. I'm angry.
No, I can sense it. On a good note, you did win 2 championships.
I don't
over the
care.
Weekend.
I do not care. I wanted Mully so bad. I don't care.
It's so funny. I won no dynasty championships this year. I won 2 redraft championships. I don't know how you end up doing in redraft every year. I always suck in redraft because I don't know.
I'm usually middle of the pack.
It's a one shot.
Except for this one league that me and some college buddies do every year. We always do this one league, and we renew it every time. I'm usually okay, middle of the pack. This year, I was completely dominant because I absolutely nailed my draft picks with rookies. I got Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and I got Bucky Irving off waivers. Freaking phenomenal. So I got Bijan and Gibbs because people let Gibbs slide to like the mid-second round for some reason. I'm like, great. I'll take Bijan and Gibbs. Got Josh Allen. I actually drafted Brandon Ayuk, who got hurt. Didn't matter because I had Brian Thomas Jr.
Ooh,
absolutely chef's kiss. Beautiful season from that team.
I just looked about an hour ago. Brian Thomas Jr. is the wide receiver 4 in fantasy football right now.
I believe
that man.
He had like 20 points plus
incredible.
Every single game of the playoffs.
Oh my gosh.
Every time.
Yeah.
With
He
Mac
was
Jones.
so good. So good. Anyways, you wouldn't know it at this point in the episode, but this is a how to approach the offseason kind of reminder.
It's way too early for us to be doing not with me like this. How to approach the offseason? We're selling everyone. The only person who gets to stay is David Montgomery.
Yeah. Sweet Prince, Dave Montgomery. We can build a shrine to Jahmyr Gibbs, but that's about it.
Jahmyr is also on my Mully team, and he is not the reason we lost. I'm going to put a little bit of blame on him because I needed him to be 2019 McCaffrey because 2019 McCaffrey would have won that.
Yeah.
Gibbs didn't do it.
If you had
Gibbs
35, he did
Gibbs came close, but he didn't do it.
Very good, but he didn't quite pull it through for you. This is just some do's and don'ts. A quick reminder. I know for the most part, everybody that is listening to the show right now, you play Dynasty.
You might have turned it off, hearing like, I can't listen. You've either turned it off because like this guy needs to shut up and just get to some content, or maybe you're still listening. You know every emotion I'm going through right now.
Yeah, this is relatable for you. I mean, I was in this exact same spot last year, minus some of the buildup of like the previous 6 years of not having got it done. But when you lose by 0.4 points in a 2-week championship, it's like I'm going to do questionable things.
And I'll give you a shout out too because you've had more time to recover. I'm fresh off a absolutely vicious 48 hours. You did a couple weeks ago have one of the most devastating losses I've ever seen in log too. So,
gosh, 0.4 of a point. I'm trying not to think about the fact that my team then like literally set a scoring record for the league in the in the championship weeks.
You and I both
Nobody
did.
has scored more points. Yes.
Can we stop and talk about log for just a second? Because this happens every year. Every year in log.
It's so funny because log, I don't know how this ends up happening, but every year the best team loses in the semifinals, except for 1 year. There was the year that I did actually win. It was like the best regular season team, and then in just the playoffs.
So you're saying my championship teams were not the best?
Okay, I take it back. You were like second, whatever. You know
it's
what I
usually
mean?
Pretty good.
There's usually good, really good
I got some ballers
teams
on my
that just
team.
Can't
Put
even
some
get
respect on their name.
Yeah, okay. There's good teams in the championship. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm doing the whole boot in your mouth thing. Anyways, there's always teams that go off in the third place matchup, the matchup that actually doesn't matter every year. And this year, Ben and I, both of us, set the record, broke the record. That was Ben's, 4-year-old record now of
the very first year of log, which I will say that team was extremely good. Do not sit here and discount them. That team was a baller. I dropped like 360-something points over a 2-week championship on Landon. Spearheaded by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase going absolutely nuclear in week 17.
Yeah, if you remember, that was the year that Jamar Chase had his, what was it, a 200-yard game against
200
was it the Ravens or the Chiefs?
Chiefs. To get into the playoffs, he had 200 yards and 3 tubs.
Oh, okay.
That's baller.
That's right.
That is clutch.
It was incredible. Yeah, that was an unstoppable force. And then for whatever reason, in the third place matchup this year, you and I meet up yet again. And you put up a ridiculous 398 points. And for some reason, I don't know why, my team put up 412. The first 400-point output ever. But it didn't matter. It was the fun part.
It actually worked out because I traded Jonathan Taylor to Landon Huell, who, shout out, finally gets his first log. He's a little bit like me and Mully. He's always been extremely good, great team every single year. It just falls apart for him in the playoffs. He finally got there. Shout out Landon. But I traded him Jonathan Taylor for like the last week, I think. So that would have made me lose. If you and I had made the championship, I would have kept Jonathan Taylor, and I still would have lost by, I think you calculated it would have been 0.4 points.
Yeah.
I don't think mentally I could have handled losing Mully by 5 and log by 0.4.
Not to mention, you would have scored 412.4. I think I finished at 412.8, which, like, for the score, the previous 2-week record's
200 points a week. That's 200 points a week.
It does not happen in this league. I think like the league median every single week, it's like 135. So,
I mean, it's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. But
these absolutely nuclear weeks.
Yeah, 200 is not a regular occurrence. It's happened like 5 or 6 times.
Like when you lost in the semis, you scored 150. I think I scored around 140. And we both took massive uppercuts from Landon and Alex, who both scored 190. Yeah. And then they both come back down to earth. They put up respectable weeks, but it's not 400 points.
No. But it didn't matter because this is the third place week. We just get to, I don't even know what we get to do with that. Just be like, hey, remember when that happened?
It's not even bragging rights because you go into the chat and be like, hey, be glad you didn't play me. And then you can never win that argument because they always hit you with, but you didn't. I'm in the championship and you're not. You have no comeback to that. You're like, you're right. I'm not in the championship.
It's just going to be a thing that in like 3 or 4 years will be like, hey, remember when that matchup happened that like didn't matter at all, but we went completely nuclear for no reason whatsoever?
You remember when the Lord shielded you from my wrath in week 16 and 17?
Yeah, it'll be a nice little trivia nugget in about 5, 6, 7 years. It'll be great.
That one time Josh and Ben combined for 800 points in a championship.
800 points. Let's talk about the offseason.
I don't want to.
I know you don't want to be here mentally at all.
I am checked out right now.
But that being said, now that championships have ended, everybody is kind of coming up for air, and you may just need like a
I'm going to keep this going, by the way. I'm going to throw a negative comment about every 38 seconds.
We've got some do's and don'ts for your dynasty leagues for the offseason. Just some simple reminders. Don't make these mistakes or do this thing. Don't avoid this little roadblock, I figured we could just go popcorn style, go every other here. I'll go ahead. I'll take the first one so that you don't have to lead us off talking about things in the offseason. The first thing, it's a don't do this. Don't go sell all your older players because they're now worth like nothing. Your Alvin Kamara's of the world, your Mike Evans, Derrick Henry's, their value is about to be the lowest it will ever be. And the only time it will peak again is during the season next year if they have another good year. So
or after the draft.
If you're yeah, and even still, like honestly, their highest value maybe ever moving forward was like 2 weeks ago. Like Derrick Henry, for example, what is he? RB3, 4 right now?
Yeah. And he could
his value,
he could very well have a good season next year.
He could.
But it is all off season. It is going to be a hard sell of a 31, 32-year-old running back. That is a hard sell. No matter what happens. If they don't bring somebody else in, half of your fantasy league going to be like, I'm not buying a 32-year-old running back.
Yeah.
Just keep it.
And I remember the first year we were doing this podcast, we were talking about you should sell Derrick Henry. Like, that's how long he's been a sell. And he's still been good. But
so maybe we were wrong.
Maybe we were. I think everybody when he was 29, what is he, 30 now? 31?
Close, yeah.
I think I remember when he was like 28, 29, everybody was saying, yeah, you should probably sell this guy. Granted, older running backs, there was that whole resurgence that has happened now over the past year or two where I guess it hadn't really happened.
They're all good
for
now.
2 years before that. Yeah, they're all old. Old guys are all good now because I guess rookies haven't really come in and dominated the way that they did in that like 2017 class. But yeah, don't sell the old guys. They are worth nothing right now. So just hold them.
And obviously there's an asterisk. If you get value wins, you take the value win because the offseason is literally all about value wins. It doesn't matter anymore because you don't have to set a lineup for another 8 months. But
you can still make wide receiver trades because they tend to hold value. I would generally just avoid running back trades altogether in the offseason. Like unless you're getting Bijan or Gibbs, probably wouldn't make any deals to acquire a running back for the next several months.
Yeah, they're really in a tier of them. They're owned by themselves. Because they're the only running backs I think might be in the league outside of like the rookies this year that still have 3 years left on their contract. Like nobody else has that.
I can't think of anybody else that'll have 3 years left.
No, Saquon does not have 3 years on his contract. Like it's like Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson and honestly Bucky Irving are the only other guys that are, if any note, that have 3 years left on a deal.
Yeah. You could probably make some quarterback trades. That would be the only other thing I could think about. Like, because quarterbacks are sort of off in their own little deal where, Yeah,
in Superflex, that's a whole different animal when you're looking at quarterbacks.
Yeah. But in general, don't trade the old guys. Quarterbacks aside, don't trade the old guys.
This one's very applicable to me.
There we go.
Given how wildly angry I am at Terry McLaurin and Devontae Adams right now. Landon texted me. He wasn't able to make this episode. He texted me. He said, do not make he's like, I'm speaking for you and you alone. Do not make any trades until at least the AFC Championship. Because he knew how just beyond upset I was about this. He's like, do not do anything until the AFC Championship. I'm telling you right now, you will make a mistake.
Yeah. In general, you don't want to make emotional trades, but it does come a point where everything comes together and it's just like the sucky concoction together. And you're like, I'm getting this dude off my roster. I don't care. He's gone. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That would not be good. Go ahead and hit us with the next one.
Yeah, you kind of put this one on here, and we may have kind of covered it. It's hard to sell players in general right now. I guess it kind of depends. With the veterans, you can't sell them. The other ones, it's more of pay attention to the value you're getting back with guys. Because rookie picks are really hard to gauge right now. And I guess I'll take the other one because they kind of go hand in hand of being a little bit wary of the rookie fever. Because at the end of the day, when you've got the player, I know what I've got with that player. There's exceptions with the rookie picks. Like I would say the 101, 102, 103. Obviously a pick can bust, but those 3 picks are going to hold their value incredibly well no matter what. But past that is really kind of more shooting in the dark. So be more willing to keep your players at this point in time.
Yeah, I would just be very conservative right now. I know people will try and make moves for picks, which we'll get into here in a minute, but as a rule of thumb right now in the early part of the offseason and probably up until the draft, I'm just going to be really conservative on selling players or buying players. I mean, free agency still hasn't happened. Free agency will dictate a lot of what we think might happen. But even still, and maybe this is just something to remember for me more than it is anything else, like for a lot of players, you won't know or have any idea how things will go until like training camps open next year. So trying to project situational stuff is tough. So I wouldn't be trading for or trading away anybody that like their situation could reasonably change a lot. Like if I'm going to go acquire somebody, it's somebody that you know, like, yeah, that's not going to change. Yeah, wouldn't be doing, like, I would not be trying to, I don't even know, what's a good, like a Tajay Spears or I guess
I would go as far as to even say
Tony Pollard.
What about like a James Conner situation?
Yeah.
I know they gave him a contract extension, but another running back that's 30 years old, that's got a 22-year-old third-round pick who's really athletic breathing down his neck.
Right.
James Conner should still be fine next year, I think, but at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come down to, like, what is Trey Benson next year? And if there's no way of knowing. So, yeah, I wouldn't be doing moves like that. One thing here, this is a go do this. If you're going to make some trades, I would be trying to potentially acquire future firsts. Because, and this is probably also not the right time to do this. Like, I wouldn't do this right now. No. But I would potentially start thinking about this as pick values start to go up, which they will, up until probably the NFL draft is when, well, actually, your rookie draft, whenever that is, will be the peak value for rookie picks. But generally speaking, like right around the time of the NFL
right
draft.
after rookie draft. Or right after NFL draft. They peak.
Like in April, people start to go nuts. I would be considering buying future firsts. Like if you've got a mid-25 first right now, you can't really assign a player name to that. So you don't really know what you're going to get. There's 3 or 4 or 5 different guys. It could be, maybe, but even still you don't know because values are kind of fungible at the moment. Whereas you know for a fact like a 25 mid first is going to be worth potentially a 26 early-ish first. Obviously, you can't project that, but you can go get a 26 first and a second for your 25 first. Most likely. Maybe it's a third on top or something. You can get something on top of that 26 pick. And then as you get closer to the rookie draft, people are going to start to go nuts because you realize the names that you attach to those picks. So you can potentially turn your 25 first when you can attach a name to it to a 26 and a 27 first that there's no name attached and there's no like allure to it. So
yeah,
there's going to be an opportunity to buy future picks. And the thing that we do know with rookie picks is they pretty much hardly ever lose value if you treat them as picks. Once you start to attach players to them, they can lose value. But as a pick, they're not going to lose value.
Yeah, I guess the name of the game in the offseason is value. Period. No matter what, the name of the game is value. And I've done this in leagues before to where at first it kind of stung when I did it. But back in 2022, I think I had the 107 and I traded that for a 2023 first and like it was like a second or something, I think, on top of it. Now, that 107 ended up being Garrett Wilson. I was really upset about it at first, but you got the second on top of that, and that 2023 first ended up being Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is worth more than Garrett Wilson straight up right now, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. And on top of that, you get the second.
Yeah. So it's moves that we've actually done in leagues, and it's the value win because you're not setting a lineup for 8 months.
Right.
I don't need to worry about how many running backs and tight ends I've got on the team right now.
I think the other thing, and this is sort of like a package along with that, is I would be considering selling my early 25 picks. I think a lot of times people will tell you closer to the rookie draft, once you can start to assign, like Ashton Genty, Amarian Hampton, Ted McMillan.
It's like a 98% chance the 101's Ashton Genty, but...
Right. People are going to get pretty hot and bothered about Ashton Genty close to rookie drafts, to the point that we're going to start having conversations like, is he the Dynasty RB1? Once you start having those conversations, everybody's a goner. So you can then sell that pick for a lot. And this happened last year with Marvin Harrison Jr., and I was able to sell Marvin Harrison and get Amon-Ra St. Brown in a second. Now, obviously, you didn't anticipate Marvin Harrison having a rookie season like what he had, but still, that was I don't know if it was a win long term, but I feel great about it right now.
I would feel very good about it because you and I just did our wide receiver rankings last week. I believe Amon-Ra was 4 and Marvin Harrison Jr. was 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're good at math, but that's an 8-spot difference.
That's a win. So, rule of thumb, if you can sell your early picks for studs or future picks plus, probably going to be a pretty good investment to make in terms of winning the value game. That's not to say that you can't make the picks when it's like a Genty or a McMillan or whatever, but, if you want to potentially 2x it or go double or nothing, you could theoretically do that.
I'm fine with this. Sell that 101 for 226 first. Bingo.
Probably a pretty good move. Hopefully. Theoretically, maybe. There's no way of knowing.
I'm also a classic pick seller, so
Dude,
I rarely make rookie picks. I rarely do I make rookie picks.
That's the thing that, like, once you get a team that's competing, the best way to keep the thing almost running on autopilot is to trade for picks as throw-ins during the season. And then when player value goes down and rookie value goes crazy, you then flip those picks back for players, and you just kind of keep it going over and over. Like the 107, not very exciting during
Sometimes
the
it is,
NFL
depending
season.
on the draft class.
Well, yeah, but like during the season, you're not like, ooh, I got the 107. But then once rookie fever comes, and then in a 12-team league, you go, I might get Brock Bowers. That's exciting. Obviously, what he turned into is incredible. But like Brian Thomas was very available at the 107 in a lot of drafts. And people get hot and bothered, and they go, ooh, I want Brian Thomas. I'm going to give you fill in the blank thing. And it tends to be an overpay at that point.
Yeah, rookie drafts it's weird gauging those a little bit because, like you said, sometimes you just got to take the value, but it's also at times the cheapest you'll ever get a guy. Like Brock Bowers at the 108, Brian Thomas Jr. going in the late first round pick or late first in last season. You're not going to get those players at that price for probably another decade. Like that's what just happened right there.
Yeah, it's the lottery. That's why I think everybody gets so excited about it, because you're like, if this thing hits, I'm set.
But if I also took, because I was high on him, I think I took Jonathan Brooks in a rookie draft over Brian Thomas Jr., and I hate myself.
No, there was a point in time I took Trey Sermon, and that one didn't work out. So I took Kyle Pitts and Trey Sermon in the same rookie draft. I took Kyle Pitts with Jamar Chase on the clock. That was
Thank you for that, by the way.
That was awful.
That was the greatest rookie draft I've ever had because I had the 101, 104. I drafted Najee Harris as one quarterback league. Drafted Najee Harris one. Most other people were doing that in one quarterback leagues. And I traded up to the 104 thinking Kyle Pitts would be there. You had other plans.
Yeah, and then somebody took
Javonte
was either
Williams.
ETN or Javonte. There it is.
Javonte Williams went ahead of Jamar Chase as well.
Hmm.
It didn't really matter because I haven't won a championship with Jamar Chase anyway. But the value was there.
Hit us with this last do. Go do this. Go do this last thing.
Hold on to your first until the draft. Don't sell them just yet.
Yeah, hold him.
When we're saying we're looking to move all these things like your early first, now's not the time to do that. Those rookie drafts, we just if in the dynasty timeline you're looking at here, you've got everything. The market just crashed right now. The championship just ended. The market crashed, and now the dust is going to kind of settle. The picks just spiked, but they're going to keep spiking for another 3 months.
Right.
So,
and they're going to get to a point where, like, every year it happens. There's like a crazed, frenzied element to it where, like, you can. To put it this way, I remember I was trying to acquire Marvin Harrison on my log team. This, I guess it was right before the rookie draft last year.
I tried as well, and I'm very glad I didn't.
Very glad I didn't either because
I offered Jonathan Taylor and JSN straight up for
Oh.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Guy declined it. Thank you, Lord, he declined that.
Goodness. I mean,
man.
I got the comeback was Justin Jefferson plus. I said no. I think it was Justin Jefferson and Anthony Richardson for that pick. At the time, Anthony Richardson was very highly valued. Now it's not so great. But yeah, I mean, it's and the guy with the 101 can do that. And there's probably somebody out there. Like, I bet he sent that off and he was like, he might not accept it, but if he does, and
It's at the same time, like, I've got the 101. I'm more than happy to sit on this. But if you want to push me and give me something I can't say no to, yes.
Yeah. And it will happen. More often than not, it will happen. It didn't end up happening.
Rookie
in
craze
log.
hits. I got Josh Allen for the 101 and a future second.
Yeah.
And that feels pretty good, not having Caleb Williams instead having Josh Allen.
Whew. Ooh, you dodged a bullet, maybe. Potentially.
I actually somehow ended up with Caleb Williams on the roster anyway, but a lot of things happened during the season, so that's a different conversation.
Yeah. So, yeah, hold on to the picks. They're going to go up in ridiculous value, even like early seconds.
Next week,
Those things are going to.
even this week, I guarantee you, I'm the commissioner of our Scramble Drill League, which shout out to that league. It was a great season. You and I came in 11th and 12th, so not that great, but
Great year. Great year.
it was bad. But the leagues are supposed to roll over, I think, and reset for next year, like tomorrow. And that's when I'm going to put out the draft order and everything like that. Like, even tomorrow, those picks are going to spike. Once you actually see 101, 106, 107 by the pick name, it goes up instantly.
Yep. I would not be shocked to see a trade go through when you release the draft order, to be honest with you. Somebody's going to be like, I want to trade up. I want to make something happen. I could see it.
I hope it happens. It's exciting.
It would be fun for the league.
I need something joyous in my life.
That's all we got for this episode. Listen, thank you so much, everybody listening, sticking with us this season. We had a blast. It happened subtly, but we kind of switched from a redraft show to a dynasty-focused show. And all heartbreak aside, it has been an absolutely great year. We brought in Landon Davis, started doing, 3 of us on an episode, which has been an absolute blast. I have had so much fun this year.
Yeah. I remember the text. It was around week 6 or something, I feel like, because Landon and I feel like we were going pretty strong with the redraft content or the dynasty content. I think having him's been really good. He does really great with the dynasty stuff. And you had texted me, you're like, I don't want to do this redraft stuff anymore. And I'm like, I don't blame you. I don't care. Dynasty's more fun.
Dynasty's just so much more fun. And it was funny because this was finally the year that I had a good redraft year. And I was like,
yeah,
I
did too.
Talk about Dynasty.
I killed it in redraft.
I did too.
I like Dynasty.
This would have been a great year to go all in on redraft, being like, do this, and do this, because we did it and it worked. But who cares, man?
Maybe we'll do a little bit of redraft. We'll see. We'll get into some underdog drafts potentially.
Yeah, we'll probably do maybe a little best ball series next year. Who knows? We'll figure something out. But yeah, it's been a great year. So hang with us. I know a lot of people tend to dip out once the championships are done. And you're just going to come back, August of next year. Hang out with us in the offseason. We'll be making Dynasty content all year long.
Stop, though.
There it is. Dynasty season never ends.
We're actually kicking off the Dynasty season because what we got to do now is research. We got a whole rookie class coming in. You and Landon don't know a ton about it. I know I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means. I know considerably more than you two do right now, but I'm excited to kind of us all be doing our own evaluations of rookies and coming on here and just seeing what we think.
I do know this. I don't know a ton yet, but I do know this. There are 2 running backs in this draft that are excellent.
There's 3
would be the RB1. Both of them would be the RB1 in a lot of classes.
There's 3 to me. There's 3 guys that are elite.
Oh, that's exciting. I have watched Omarion Hampton play. The dude's freaking ridiculous. And Ashton Genty's awesome.
I got another one that maybe I'm blindly in love, but I love another one. We'll find out later who it is.
So stick around with us for the offseason. We're going to have a blast. And if you do decide to come back in August, we will see you when you do. Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you all in the next episode.